Hello there, welcome to Talking Balearics with me, Martin Makepeace, in a very sunny Ibiza.
And hello from Mallorca, Martin. It's very sunny here too. Summer's here, 24 degrees, my friend.
Amazing, isn't it? You know what amazes me, Richie? Every year the weather just seems to turn on a sixpence, yeah? You know, like you used to do back in the day in the middle of the park, you know, when you used to turn on a sixpence. It's like the weather, isn't it?
Back in the day. You remember that 40-yarder I hit in Ibiza one? Remember that one?
You're still dining out on it, Rich. How are you?
Still, mate. Still. Yeah, I'm all good, mate. All good. Well, I say all good. I am actually full. Believe it or not, it's 24 degrees and I'm full of flu.
Okay.
What's man flu, whatever you call it these days. So, yeah, apart from that, I'm all right.
Good lad. And how is, listen, Ibiza is open for business. How's Mallorca looking?
Yeah, similar, Mark. We are getting busy. It's leading up to, I was out and about over the weekend and you could see in the resorts just starting to wake up, lots of people around, which is nice to see. Airport's obviously definitely busy. You can see with the planes coming over, definitely busier as well. So, yeah, summer's here. I mean, some people are off on Easter holidays this week even, so it's good to see.
What surprises me, Rich, is that we literally go, here in Ibiza, we go from winter mode to summer mode almost overnight. So you've got the locals walking around in their fleeces and their jeans, and now we've still got the tourists out there in flip-flop shorts and bikini tops. So it's a really strange time of year where the two kind of marry together, and it takes a while to get used to it, I've got to tell you.
Yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, it's a nice time of year because you can see, obviously, everybody's excited about the year ahead and everything else. There's obviously a few things going on that might derail us a little bit, which I'm sure we'll be talking about today. But, you know, let's look on the positive side, glass half full, as we say.
Talking about today, Rich, what have you got for me this week?
Well, there was the protest in Palma over the weekend. So I wanted to talk about that. That was the housing protest.
Yeah.
And tourismophobia as well over the weekend. And that we'll talk about that. And also, because I noticed something you wanted to touch on, San Antonio spending a lot of money updating their resort. Similar things happening in Magaluf. There's building work going on the sort of the Paseo in Magaluf. It's not yet finished. So
yeah, I feel we're both going to have a similar rant today, Rich.
Well, not a rant actually. I'm not going to have a rant about it because I'm seeing it from the positive point of view.
Yeah, me too.
And not the negative. So
no, listen, I'm going to stick my 2 pence in, but I'm definitely going to stay positive today as well. I've got, as you said, things happening in San Antonio which we're going to touch on. There's a new boulevard being built, which is I think it's really good news. We've got the new street art in San Antonio, which is really taking shape, which I want to go into a bit more detail. And also, we've got some special birthdays coming up as well, which I'll talk about as well. So I don't think it's going to be a long one today, mate, but I think it'll be interesting.
Okay. Should we talk about the, I don't know, did you have a protest at the weekend, Mark? Was there anything going on in Ibiza?
There was. I didn't really see much in the press, mate. I believe it was kind of quite all over the Balearics, I believe, wasn't it? So I saw a little post, but nothing much. What happened over there in Palma?
Well, actually, I sort of hear and I read that it wasn't such a good turnout, if the truth be known. A lot of people are putting it down to people getting just a little bit demoralised by the worsening housing situation. And it depends on who you believe. The organisers will say there were 10,000. The government said there was 3,500, and the police said there's 1,500. So,
right.
So whichever one you believe, I'd probably go on the middle one, possibly.
Yeah.
On the actual number of people that attended. But interesting that the numbers were way down. In fact, half down on what they were at this time last year. I don't know if that's because of the demoralisation of people actually thinking that, you know, this is not going anywhere fast, and maybe, hopefully, I'm more thinking on the hopeful side that they're not going to target the tourists anymore. They are actually going to make their anger at the government and the housing projects that they should be putting forward or bringing forward. That's my hope in relation to that, because I think that's the way it's got to go. I don't think the tourist is the way. But interestingly enough, obviously, with this the Trump situation in regards to the tariffs, etc., I'm sort of more worried about that on a global scale, really, to be perfectly honest, because I look at the exchange rates every day, and the pound against the euro right now is down to 1.16, and it was as high as 1.21 about a month ago. Same with the dollar, but obviously the dollar's down, but that doesn't really affect us here. The euro in particular does. And that will affect, obviously, what people have in their pocket to spend when they come here. The higher the rate, obviously, the more money they've got to spend in their pocket. And I hope that doesn't sort of, accentuate, because what it will do is you'll drive up prices, of course, and we have to, like you over in Ibiza, have to import pretty much everything that we get here. So that's not going to be easy for us either. And that's going to drive up prices. So it's a worrying situation, I think, at the moment, but I hope it's going to calm itself down a little bit.
Well, it's the uncertainty that kills you, isn't it, Richie? That's the problem. The markets say it, everyone says it. When you don't really know what's happening and what's happening across the pond in the United States, no one quite knows what's happening. But let me go back to the housing situation and the demonstration. I saw some of the pictures, Richie. I'd probably say 2,000 or 3,000 people there. There definitely wasn't 10,000 people there. I'll tell you that much. No way.
No.
We all know what 10,000 people look like, and it wasn't that.
You'll know that at Derby.
Yeah, well, listen, we've got the third highest average attendance in the championship, so but what I would say is that if there is a lack of desire to demonstrate now, I think it's a double-edged sword. I think people still need to be heard, but also I think they need to, as you rightly said there, Richard, they need to take it out on the right people. Going against the tourists is completely the wrong thing to do. You really are throwing out the baby with the bathwater, because they are our lifeblood. They're the people that bring us business. Now, it's the people that control the tourism and control the infrastructure the way we really need to direct our ire, which is, of course, the politicians. And let's face it, we've said it year in, year out. They've done nothing. I wrote about it 10 years ago or 7-8 years ago, and there was a housing crisis then. And in those 7-8 years, nothing has been done. So I think that's really positive, that I think people are wising up. I think really, how can we say, the crash ban wallop politics has gone out the window, that let's start thinking about it. Let's put pressure groups on as well. I'm with them. I think there's a housing problem. There's a massive housing problem, but tourists can't solve it, can they? The government can, and that's where we need to focus our protests and our ire. Get that right.
Our ire is not easy to say, actually.
Our ire. There you go.
But listen, we hit the nail on the head last week, where I know you said it in particular. We can't bite the hand that feeds us in the way that the biggest industry we have is tourism. So we can't affect tourism in a way that it might be affected anyway with what's going on in the world at this particular moment in time. We can't make it worse than it is already, if the truth be known. We need those tourists. We need to get that money. Do we look at the way that we actually market ourselves as an island, as we talked about last week? Maybe we can extend the seasons and everything else, and look at ourselves as more of maybe a 10-month destination rather than at the moment a 4 to 6 months destination. So that's something that I would look at. And you talked about it last week. The model, the sort of the model of tourism right now, with the 80s and 90s, it worked. It was starting creaking in the 2000s. It got worse in 2010 and into 2020. Now, in reality, it's broken. It's totally broken. It's not working because there's too many residents. Yeah, that's the bottom line. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's the way it is. We have created, with the digital nomads and with the kind of people who can work anywhere. They'd rather live and work in a place like Ibiza than London or Madrid, I suppose. So we are a victim of our own success. But I think prices going up, Richie. I mean, I'm not sure if prices can go up that much more in Ibiza, because we really are outpricing ourselves. A friend of mine went to a new bar the other day, and the prices had literally doubled from what they were previously. So, having been to Granada a couple of weeks ago, Richie, and saw the southern Spain prices, and then you come back to Ibiza, it's quite eye-watering, the prices that we are charging at times. So I like to think we're reassuringly expensive. I always said that. I mean, my favourite line ever is, if you want cheap, then go to a cheap destination. So, we're not a cheap destination, and we don't want to be a cheap destination, but we've got to get the prices right. We've got to get the balance right. Agree.
Talk about San Antonio, and they're building this amazing boulevard. I'm really all over this, Rich. I'm going to say two things about it. They're basically connecting the West End, which is our kind of busy, vibrant area, similar to your Punta Ballena in Magaluf. So the West End of San Antonio, they're building a boulevard, which is a pedestrianised boulevard all the way down to Cafe Mambo, Cafe Del Mar, the Sunset Strip, which I think is a fantastic idea. But there's just two issues that there's always issues. isn't there, Rich? Unfortunately, in the Balearics, that's the way we roll. First and foremost, they've started work now, a 3-phase, which means that, we've had probably 3 or 4 months without working, and they start 3 weeks before the season. But isn't that always the way? I'd rather they get on with things. I've got to tell you, Rich, I go all over the world, and when I go all over the world, there's work everywhere, isn't there? I don't think in a fully vibrant resort we can actually go, we'll do it those months and we'll stop. Let's just do it. Let's get it out of the way, smash it out of the park. Let's get the boulevard down there. They're doing it in 3 phases. And interestingly enough, they want to carry on in July and August as well, Rich. So,
wow.
Yeah, I know. And the reason why they've done it is because the boulevard goes past 2 schools. And what they've said is, listen, why don't we do it in July and August when the schools aren't there? I think the priority is always the schools in the Balearics. And they've said, let's do it in July and August when the schools aren't in session, and they can do it. And I'm all over it, really. As long as the neighbours are okay with it, I think the quicker we get on with things, get it out of the way. And I think it's going to be a game changer, because you've got the West End with the new artwork, which I'll talk about shortly. You've got the boulevard, which connect the West End to the Sunset Strip, and the Sunset Strip pretty much connects the whole town because it's on the Paseo, or what's Paseo in English, Rich? It's a promenade, isn't it? The promenade goes from the Sunset Strip all the way around. So I think San Antonio is really moving in the right direction.
I mean, you and I come from an era of a repping era where we used to fill in building work reports. I don't know if you remember those from your repping days, Mark.
Didn't bother with those, Rich. Used to put them in the bin.
So the building work is something that we all know and we all sort of despise or whatever. But in order to improve and move on and do something different, you need building work.
Yeah, you've got to do it. I change. I mean, when I've been to places in the Far East like Bangkok or even Miami, I know I'm name dropping here, but you go to these places, they're always in obras, as we call it in Spain, in obras, in works, yeah, and that's because they're always significantly improving the infrastructure. So if it means we have a couple of seasons of slight dust and noise, then so be it. I just think that the quicker we get on with things, the better.
Well, we have a similar situation in Magaluf. The Magaluf Promenade is running all the way through, the building work has been running all the way from October and will run till the end of this month, beginning of next month. And the mayor has sort of said, I apologise for the building work which is still taking place on Magaluf Promenade, but he said that once it was completed, it would give the resort a real lift. So what they've done is they divided it into 2 parts, doing one part now up until the end of April, and then they're finishing, stopping, and doing the other part next winter as well. So by the end of 2026, sort of early 2026, Easter period again next year, the whole promenade should be done. And listen, it has to be done. And if it can only be done in the winter, because obviously we're normally closed in the winter, that's when it's got to be done. If it runs into April, yes, it's a pain for some people, particularly the people who have businesses on that promenade. I imagine it's not the easiest thing to do, but I imagine they will then reap the rewards of that promenade once it's actually built.
I think the really good point, the positivity here, Rich, is both Magaluf and San Antonio, which have had damaged reputation over the years. They are changing things, aren't they? They're going places. They're updating the hotels. We've got 4- and 5-star hotels in both places. The promenade's looking better. It's cleaner. I think it's a really great time for these 2 destinations because they've really upped their game.
Yeah, I agree. And they're trying to move away from the booze, the booze and brawl situation that has happened before in the past. Look, I still think you're going to get some of it because of the nature of the beast. But in reality, as you say, most of the hotels now in Magaluf are 4- and 5-star, and families are of a premium now, and it's not so much of the young people.
If I was to say to you, Acuda San Miguel, Rich, what would you say?
Acuda San Miguel?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it something to do with the beer?
You were going to say that. I know how your mind thinks. No, Acuda San Miguel is the Spanish street artist, which he's now changing the face of the West End. Now, did you see my stories on Instagram? Did you see what I put on there? You've got
Yes, I did.
Got the new artwork, and
I like it.
It's amazing, Rich. It's amazing. I was down there at the weekend. I saw the hard work on there, and people are really coming around to this idea now as well because it looks amazing. He's a street artist. He's done in Moscow. He's done things in New York. He's done things all over the world, and it's a game. I think it's a game changer, Rich. I really do because it's a real punt. I spoke to the mayor about it in my podcast over Christmas. I put that on social media at the weekend as well, and he, in his own words, said it's a bit crazy, but it's 300,000 euros. It's European money, so it hasn't come out the coffers of the town hall, and it looks amazing. And the amount of social media that it's garnering at the moment, Rich, I think it's only going to run and run. Now, the big problem or the big issue is that it's underfoot, and we all know what happens to these areas in the summer, don't we? They do get a bit lively with drinks and things like that. So let's see how the wear and tear goes. But the buzz around San Antonio, I've got to tell you, it's absolutely fantastic, and it could be a game changer. Now, I mentioned previously about the boulevard. Imagine going up the street, the West End main street, which is Calle Santa Ignace for those people who live this way. You walk up there, you've got these amazing street art everywhere. On the left-hand side, you've got a new boulevard that takes you straight down to the Sunset Strip, connects the town. So it's a really exciting time for San Antonio, and I've got to say, I'm all in, Rich. I know I'm the self-styled man in San An, but I'm all in.
Good. Sounds really good. And as I say, I've seen your pictures, and yes, I agree totally. It looks really, really good.
Club news, not much this week, but I have got a special guest coming to join us next week, Rich.
Oh, yeah.
Dwayne Nolan, who is very well known. He's a influencer on YouTube and Instagram, runs a page called Ibiza Club News. He's going to join us next week. So we're going to do a bit of an Ibiza Club special next week because we've got the club opening at the end of the month, like 26, I think, Ushuaia and High open. So we're going to do a little bit of a special next week, if that's okay with you, Rich.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Lovely. And one last story from Ibiza is I just saw a little great thing in the paper today. I don't know if I sent it over to you, but it was reported today that Ibiza now has 54 people of 100 years and over, which I thought was quite sweet because I think that says that we have a great style of life, don't we? The Mediterranean lifestyle is good for you. So we've got 54 centenarian. Hold on, let me say that right. Centenarian. Hold on. I'll have to scrap that bit out, won't I? So
Centenarians, is it?
Centenarians, there you go. Huh? Thank you very much, Rich. I was trying to read that there, of which 16 are in San Antonio. So if you're over 100 and you're listening to this, well done. That's what I've got to say.
Yeah, do they put it down to a little tot of whiskey every day or something, or what?
I think it's just the Mediterranean lifestyle, Rich. I think there's hope for me and you to live well past our sell-by date, I think, Rich. So
maybe you won't need those injections in your face anymore, Mark.
I always need those injections in my face, Rich. A bit of self-care at my age is always a good idea.
Yeah.
Any football news, Rich?
No, I did go to the Division Honor game over the weekend.
How was it?
Yeah, I mean, it was Barcelona against San Francisco. Barcelona won 1-0. San Francisco had a player sent off early part of the second half, so made it a little bit more difficult to get back into the game. But yeah, it was quite a lot of people there, which was good to see watching the game. And Barcelona, listen, they've got some fantastic players, but San Francisco held their own. Only lost by 1-0. So good for youth football. Mallorca not so good this weekend, lost 2-1 at Celta.
I saw that.
And so, unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're going to get into Europe, which would have been a great thing for Mallorca to do. But
Udi Ibiza at the weekend drew 0-0 with Real Madrid Castilla. So if anyone doesn't know, Real Madrid Castilla, get that right, is the under-21 side from Madrid, Real Madrid, coached by Raul Gonzalez, who was the very famous player. Udi Ibiza, 7 wins on the trot, and then they've just they haven't won for 3 games now. So I think they've gone down to 4th in the the Primera RFEF. So 2 good games from the weekend: Madrid, Barcelona, and both on our shores, which is good, isn't it?
Yeah, great, all good.
Great, Rich. Are we done?
We're done, mate.
Fantastic.
Nice to speak to you.
Yeah, fantastic, Richie. Thanks a lot, mate. I look forward to catching up next week and talking about those clubs because I know you love those Ibiza clubs.
Oh, yes. So I'll be getting my tickets very soon, I'm sure. Really? Anyway, go on.
Thanks, Rich. Bye, mate.
See you soon, mate. Bye-bye.
Make me dance.